Hey guys, what is up? Aiden here. Today we got a little bit of a different video and kind of a different change of pace, so to speak, for the channel. I'm going to be gearing this channel more in the direction of fitness content, so expect to see more of this. That isn't to say there won't be any nerdy Linux gaming content in the future. That's just to say that what I'm doing now is kind of got a different focus, so to speak. If I'm a little shaky, please forgive me in this video. It's been a while since I've recorded anything, so talking to a camera in a dark room by myself still feels a little bit weird. So yeah, go ahead and forgive me for that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. So as you can see by the thumbnail, I had quite a significant weight loss journey. I actually started at about 230 pounds back in 2020, and as you can see on the left hand side, I was absolutely nothing but fat. So like I was probably 35% body fat, something like that. And on the right, I'm actually somewhat near the same weight, so the title's a little deceiving. I'm about 210 pounds on the right side. I'm 6'3", so you know, if I had like the same muscularity, I might be closer to 190 if I was like 5'9". But yeah. So on the right side there, I'm 210. When I started, I didn't really lift weights or anything. So I was just focused on weight loss. And once again, I started 230 pounds. I ended up at about 150. So quite the substantial weight loss. I'll explain what I did wrong, some things that I would change if I were to go through it again, and overall how weight loss just occurs, because, you know, that was one of the big things that stumped me when I was starting out, is no one really just breaks it down, gets into the meat and potatoes, what you need to do. That's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to make it super simple and digestible. So I kind of already gave you the background. I struggled with my weight for as long as I can remember. I was always kind of like the colloquial fat kid growing up. I faced constant bullying. It's kind of stereotypical, kind of the common case. So I was very much the stereotype. I hated how I looked in pictures. I did avoid mirrors. It was kind of rough and actually extremely depressing, especially going through my formative years, through high school, being extremely fat. You know, it wasn't the best. If I can help someone today, I'll just be happy that I can kind of point them in the right direction. Like I said before, I never understood how weight loss worked. I lacked proper guidance. If you notice, school and health classes really don't talk about how weight loss occurs. They say, oh yeah, eat healthy, eat from these food groups. Obviously, processed foods are bad, right? But is that what makes us gain weight? I don't know. They kind of just leave you in the dark, so to speak. I tried and failed multiple times to lose weight, and I think that's a common experience. I think something like 90% of diets fail within like the first 2 weeks. So it's an extraordinarily large percentage of people who try and at least fail once. In 2020, I made the commitment to learn about fat loss and how the body metabolizes fat and how, you know, kind of like these basic bodily functions work. And, you know, it was extremely invaluable. I'll say that. You just have some numbers down here. I lost 75 pounds in 9 months. And yeah, I never looked back. My life has been immensely better. I get treated better. And overall, I'm just healthier. I'm going to live a longer, healthier life. And, you know, I don't think you can put a price tag on that. Okay, so how weight loss occurs. Breaking down weight loss to its simplest form, it ends up being a caloric deficit. And it amazes me how many people don't understand this to this day. I have conversations with people to this day who think you need to cut out carbs to lose weight, and it's really just not the case. It comes down to how much you daily expend and how much you eat. So if you expend 2,500 calories a day, you can go to a calorie calculator online and type in your weight and height and activity level. It'll spit out a rough number. If you eat less than that, you're likely to lose weight. So if we actually break it down, a pound of fat has 3,500 calories. If you eat in a 500 calorie deficit over 7 days, that being a week, of course, you will be in a 3,500 calorie deficit. So you should lose a pound of tissue by the end of the week. That's how you know your calorie deficit. So I always recommend people go to these websites, figure out your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, or how much you burn a day. Once you figure that out, go ahead and eat 500 calories below that. You don't want to go too extreme, especially when you're trying to maintain muscle. If you go too extreme, we're talking like 2-3 pounds a week, you're going to start to rip off muscle tissue pretty substantially. And I'll talk about methods on how to mitigate muscle loss in just a minute. But go ahead and track how much weight you lose over the week, eating in that 500 calorie deficit in accordance to how much it says you burn. If you lose half a pound, then you know you need to drop 250 more calories to equal a pound of fat loss. This is basic math. I'm going to assume you guys know how to do basic math. If you gain weight, if you gain half a pound, you're going to have to eat 750 calories less than what you initially tracked last week. Go ahead and also do daily weigh-ins. Daily weigh-ins are going to be the most accurate. So you're going to weigh yourself all 7 days of the week, take the average weight for that week, and then compare it to the next week. This is the most accurate way to measure weight loss. Because, I mean, realistically, you can be 2 pounds heavier one day, 2 pounds lighter the next, just based on water retention, how much you ate, have you taken a dump? There's a ton of factors. The next point is eating proper foods. If you just try and maintain a caloric deficit while eating honey buns, cereal, it's going to be extremely challenging. You'll still lose weight 100%, but it's going to be extremely tough. You're going to want to eat nutrient-dense, low-calorie foods. Things like salads, lean meats, even like things like potatoes. Things that you can buy at the store that are not processed and combined into something else are generally going to be good bets. Of course, making sure you're consuming high protein, about 1 gram per pound of body weight, is going to be absolutely trivial. When it comes to maintaining muscle, especially in a deficit, you're going to need to eat that gram per pound and also resistance train if you want to keep your muscle and potentially grow. If you're a newbie, you can 100% grow in a deficit, especially if you have tons of fat to lose. You can lose about 1% of your body weight a week. Go ahead and hit the gym hard 4 to 5 times a week. You know, take it slow at the start, but start pushing yourself, implementing tactics like progressive overload. And I mean, you'll be sitting pretty in like 2, 3, 4 months. These things take time, but you know, results happen when people stay consistent. All right, common cutting mistakes, and I'll tell you, I made a few of these. Number 1, cutting too fast. Cutting too fast is going to lead to rebounds, tons of muscle wasting, and overall just a less sustainable diet model. I recommend losing about 1 pound a week. If you're a 200-pound guy, you might be able to get away with 2 pounds a week. Remember, stick in that 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week rule. It's usually a good bet, probably closer to that 0.5%. Not resistance training. If you're trying to get a better body composition, you might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Start resistance training. Start building up muscles. Start implementing tactics like progressive overload. You know, you're not, I hear people say all the time, I don't want to get too big. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. And it's like, realistically, you're never going to get that big. Just start resistance training, man. You're going to be a significantly healthier person, and you're going to look a lot more sick than a scrawny little weak 150-pound kid like I did. Poor food choices. Like I mentioned before, you're going to want to be eating healthier food choices, lean meats, veggies, whole foods. These are going to be where you're going to get 90% of your calories from. It's going to make maintaining that deficit significantly easier than if you were eating honey buns and cereal. Not consistent on the weekends. I've seen people destroy their diets just by having a binge one weekend. I don't know how people put this much food down. I've seen people put down like 8,000 calories on a weekend, and they say they're staying consistent with their weight loss routine. And it's like, dude, you just wiped out your deficit for the entire week and gained 1.5 pounds. How do you do that? That's honestly more impressive than losing the weight in the first place. You need to be consistent on the weekends. Just because weekends are your time off doesn't mean you need to eat like a pig. Plain and simple. Not tracking calories properly. A lot of people assume they're tracking their calories properly, and they actually say they are. And then when I look at what they eat, yeah, dude, you're consuming 400 to 500 calories more than what you think. What I would do is I would get a food scale, and I would get MyFitnessPal. It's a free app on the App Store. You can go ahead and scan foods like their barcodes, and it'll just pull up all the nutrition facts, and it makes it super easy. Track stuff like that. Use weight. Like, use a little food scale. Like, there are like items of food, like for example, cereal or rice, that'll say like 1 cup is this many calories, but cups actually differ in size, believe it or not. And how compactly pressed in the food is makes a huge difference. So just get a food scale. Each nutrition fact label will have a weight on there as well as like the cup size. Like if it's 1 cup, it'll say like 100 grams. Weigh out 100 grams instead of a cup. It's going to be a lot more accurate. And not tracking weight day to day. I see a bunch of people freak out because they gain a pound or 2 from one day to the next. This is not a big deal. You're going to want to track your weight day to day. And if you're gaining weight week to week, that's when we have an issue. That's when we're going to take a step back, make some adjustments, and kind of recalculate what we're doing and our approach. What worked for me? I tracked every calorie. I used MyFitnessPal. I lifted weights 4 to 5 times a week, but I was an idiot. I'll tell you this. Lifting weights did probably help preserve more muscle than what I would have had. But I lifted, for lack of a better word, like a pussy. I took no sets to failure. Just kind of wasted a bunch of time in the gym. Lacked intensity. I did get my protein in though. So that probably helped. That most definitely helped retain muscle mass. I ate the same meals often. I tried to make a rigorous plan. I had Greg Doucette's French toast nearly every morning or something similar. Really, eating the same meals, though it may be bland, makes it easier to meal prep throughout the week. Spending all your time in the kitchen on Sunday rather than throughout the week makes adhering to a diet plan significantly easier. So I'd recommend that 100%. Go buy his cookbook, go buy any cookbook, just look up healthy recipes on the internet, and you'll be good to go. As long as you're staying consistent, consistency is the biggest key here. Final thoughts. Discipline beats motivation. You're going to have motivation from every now and then, from time to time. Discipline is what really drives results. You're not going to be motivated every single day. You need to go to the gym even when you don't feel like it. You need to adhere to your diet even when you don't feel like it. You won't always be perfect. The Lord knows I made tons of mistakes, and I still make mistakes to this day, but the important thing is that you learn from them. You take notes, and you write those down for the future. Knowledge is power. Once you really understand the mechanism behind weight loss, it really unlocks a bunch of doors for you. You're much more free with what you can eat. You don't have to stick to these keto diets. You don't have to do the Atkins. You just, stick to a plain calorie deficit, and, it works really, really well. And anyone can do this. I see a bunch of people say that, I can't lose weight, I have a thyroid issue. And while yes, it might be a little bit harder if you have your thyroid issue, your low T3 or whatever, to lose weight, it's not impossible. 100% not impossible. If I kicked you out on a desert island and you had no food and you couldn't forage for anything because you're a little hermit and you sit inside all day, which is me. So I don't know why I'm saying that, but you would die just as quick as anyone else. You would starve to death. Well, depending on how fat you are, it might take a while, but you'll starve to death shortly. Other than that, I don't really have anything else for you guys. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching. More content is going to be coming soon, exactly like this. Expect more tech content too. I'm really interested in that stuff, and since I have some better equipment now, I really have no excuse to not upload. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Maybe drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. It's very much appreciated. And have a good rest of your day.